Good evening, everyone. Welcome, one and all, to Friday night. And you know what that means? Oh my God. What the hell is playing? All right.
We're going live on one of your other tabs.
Yes, on Instagram it appears, and it had sound for some reason. All right, guys. Welcome, one and all, to Friday night. It means that it's hockey night in Australia time. I'm your host, Sean O'Connor, and tonight I am joined by the wonderful Oz Hockey Media team. Claire, how you going?
I'm good. I'm ready to unpack a big week.
Very big week. And Court, how are you going tonight?
Oh man, what a day today in announcements, but last weekend's games were just insane. We have so much to talk about. So much.
Really was a crazy week this week. I feel like I was talking to you guys earlier today about the fact that I'm trying to remember exactly what happened in all the games last week because there's been so much that's happened since then.
Yeah. Quick shout out to Eric Bowler, his little play-by-play of with timestamps of everything that happened. I definitely reviewed that before we went live.
I'm bringing it up now.
I also want to give a good shout out to Stephen White as well for his videos this week. He's trying to bridge the gap between what information happens at sort of the AIHL level and then with fans who, want to know more about what's occurring. So he has two good videos. He just posted one, I think, about an hour ago, his second one. Very useful watches. So anyone who hasn't watched that, get on Instagram, give it a watch. Yeah. Oh my God. All right. Let's get right into it because it's absolutely insane. I do love this slow news week. If only. We did originally have a guest that was going to come on tonight if it was a slower news week, but we've rearranged to talk to Harrison from the UK another time just because I think our times is going to be filled with literally everything.
Yeah.
Best part of the week. Let's go. Hell yeah. Hockey Night in Australia is the best. Eric Brook, 0-0 introduction, 5 last week's games. So Eric, the ice report, 85 this week. It's an outro. I wish we could keep it to an hour and a half. I would love it if we can, but we got to push if we got to do that. All right, guys. Weekend review. Claire, what was your highlights from the weekend? What games did you catch up on? Was there any particular player that stood out for you from the weekend?
There was a few games I watched. I got to the Bears-Rhinos game, to which Bears ended up with 4 unanswered goals towards the end of the second period and the third period, which was wild. Arnon O'Brie's shots every week, saves every week, just blow my mind. And Sydney gives you such a close view, kind of like Newcastle behind the goalie, which is great.
Yeah, okay.
But that was a good game to watch. At the end, not so much. There was a bit of pushy-shovey. But it was a good game. Also, Brisbane Lightning having 2 wins was good. It was a good weekend for Brisbane. And we've talked obviously about being a mental game and kind of both teams preparing for next year going out there. So that was good for me. Obviously, I always love the big ones, the Melbourne games, the Newcastle games. Newcastle obviously lost the first one, came back and won the second one for the weekend, which was good. Just an all-round good weekend of hockey, I think.
Do you have a couple of comments on here? Oh my God, Claire, it was Melbourne versus Rhinos all over again. And great game, Rhinos versus Bears, 100%. It was a pretty crazy weekend. Court, same questions. What was your highlight from the weekend? What did you catch? And any particular player?
Yeah, look, I would be doing North Stars a disservice if I don't highlight Santeri Harala winning the game in 0.6 seconds left on the clock. That rink was unbelievably loud.
Yeah.
And a lot of people said they can't remember it being that loud before, but I just I can't go past Hunter's first goal. It was around this time last year, just before finals, when he got his first goal. Link was insane. It was so loud. But
didn't he also score in finals last year too?
He did.
He kind of suddenly became like really hot.
And then has scored none all year. But like that, just the way that goal went, like I was commentating and I just, where we are in the commentator's box, I had the perfect angle view straight down behind Santi. And when he got the puck on his stick, I was just like, oh my God, that's
It's
in.
on.
Like with less appropriate wording in my head. It just, I could just see the gap he could have gone for, and that's exactly what he did. And the way that crowd erupted, I don't know, there was something special about it because there was just so little time left.
Yeah.
But more than anything, it emphasized something I've been saying all year, which is the speed in the release of his stick, and the same for Skachkov and Watanabe. So the three of them just have such a fast release, and that really highlighted it because he knew he was in seconds. So he took the shot, and then scorekeeper stopped the time and 0 points. Like,
well, two things I want to say about that court, because that was such a special moment. It was an unbelievable moment. Is that I was watching on AIHL TV, and I felt like I could feel the energy from that arena at that moment. You saw everyone jump out in the crowd and everything, and it was just insane.
Yeah.
And then the other thing was Peter Lambert's commentary at that time, because he was already talking about going to OT. No one's got any time now to score and shoot again, and then that happened.
We were both so ready for OT, and yeah, I think we were both in a little bit of shock. Like after he sort of stops talking, I'm just like, what a goal! But my voice breaks because I was in shock. I just didn't see it coming. Because here's the thing: the Ice Dogs played incredible hockey all weekend.
They did.
They were amazing. They really brought it to the North Star Barn.
Ice Dogs versus North Stars, and then we'll get on to Adelaide versus Brisbane. Unbelievable games.
Yeah. So like when the Ice Dogs fans and people that I've spoken to are like, it's a hard one to swallow. Of course it is. It would have been gutting. Mentally, they probably partly were doing what we were doing. It was preparing for OT, getting ready for which lines are they going to put out to fight the fact that they got it back to a draw again. And then Harala just gets it on his stick and finishes it in regulation. Like, wow. And, on the flip side, those points were so important for North Stars to stay top two. When you've got teams breathing down your neck, the way Braves coming, the way Mustangs are playing, Coach said it at the end of the game, like we might look back and just see how that moment was a game changer for the points and where we end up on the ladder. So,
but equally, it's a game changer for the Ice Dogs as well. Like we'll get on later about everything that's happened later in this week, but as well, that weekend they end up splitting the points rather than getting at least 4. And that's a big change. And then, they could possibly have got 5. And that would have, if the Ice Dogs came into the week, going off, we can get 5 points out of this, they would have taken that like crazy. And that would have, provided them a good buffer in that sort of midfield battle, because as we've seen, it's just been a crazy week, and they're now in such a scrap.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough, but they're not out of it.
The other thing I wanted to touch on that game, and I don't know, Claire, if you've watched this as well, was the special teams in this game, especially the first game on the Saturday. There were 8 power play goals, 4 for each team.
Yeah,
that's wild.
Yeah.
If anyone went to the box, you'd like almost guaranteed it's goal time.
You expected a goal. There was only one 5-on-5 goal. That was it.
Really? Yeah. When you say like that.
Yes. Anthony here. The Dogs didn't do what they needed to do in Newcastle and drop points as a result. Epic foreshadowing. I don't know. The thing is that you could say they dropped points, but really, I think it was Newcastle that won those points.
Yeah.
Because, you had to go for it at the end, and Newcastle did.
But both teams played incredibly well.
Yeah. Yeah. What were the other points that I had on here from this game? Oh, yes. 3 goals in the last 11 minutes, making it 4 unanswered goals, to snatch the win for the Ice Dogs on Ice Dogs on Saturday as well, which was also amazing too. Like, what amazed me was just how the parallels between the games, because it was Newcastle that obviously snatched it so late on Sunday, and it was the Ice Dogs that snatched it really late on Saturday, after the other teams looked like, oh yeah, we've got this.
Yeah.
On Saturday's game, I jumped in the car. I was watching, then I jumped in the car. And when I stopped, I pulled it out. I was like, what just happened? It was such a turnaround. And social media was going crazy. I was like, I need to. Harry has this app on his phone that just not texts him, but just like shows up the score change. And he was like, another one. And I was like, for what team? Like, they had a killer 11 minutes.
Yeah. And like, you know, it's such a good advertisement for the league as well. The actual hockey on the ice, and it was unbelievable. Like the excitement and the thrill of it. Like, the fans were going wild, as Court said before, in Newcastle, and they were equally going wild in Sydney as well.
Mm-hmm.
I also think it was cool that it happened with both the home teams winning, right? On the 2 days. So all the home fans got to go home really happy.
Yeah.
And full of cheer, which is great. Let's move on to the next big game, guys, because Eric Brook has got a good comment here. Can Adelaide and Brisbane play each other every weekend, including at finals? Related welfare check for Eric Bowler. What a weekend in Adelaide. It was an insane week in Adelaide. Equally, like those Ice Dogs North Stars games, they were so thrilling. Brisbane and Adelaide, don't forget, these are two teams that aren't making finals. They had no reason to be putting on such a spectacle, but they just went out there and put on the show of their lives.
Yeah, I would say, you know, they've all gotten together and been like, let's just end the season on the best foot forward as best we can, and that's what they've done. I think kudos to them. They did it well.
What amazed me as well is that somehow, and I don't know how this actually occurred, but both games ended 7-6 to Brisbane. I think. What do you think, Claire? Do you think Adelaide should feel unhappy that they didn't get a win out of this weekend?
Look, I think obviously everyone wants to, at worst case, split points. Nobody wants to go home not winning a game, but the closeness of it shows how hard they fought. Right? It wasn't a 7-5, a 7-3 game or a 7-0 game. They were high scoring games, and both teams brought everything that they had. You wouldn't think that they would have been out of, like, if you had have watched that, you know, and they were still within the running for points, you know, you don't tell the difference, right? Like, nobody wants to go home with a loss. At worst case, a split weekend, but they gave it all they had, and a 1-goal loss, it says a lot.
Yeah, it was interesting. So obviously the Saturday night ended up going to OT, and that's when the goal happened for Brisbane to win the game. And then Sunday it was won right at the death. The other interesting thing is that there were goals within the last minute in both of these games. One descended to OT for Brisbane, and then the next day Brisbane scored again in the last minute to win it. Man, Adelaide, they've got to close things down right at the death.
Yeah. And again, is it like, you know, will this go to OT or, you know, get prepared for the second one? But it's like, as we've seen in other teams, don't leave it to the last 0.6 seconds. If you can, you know, play right to the end.
Yeah, well, they were playing right to the end. Phil says, they were really entertaining games, and Adelaide's had a lot of close games this year, including a bunch going to OT, and that is very true. That OT game, oh my God, Adelaide was pushing so hard. They almost scored. I swear there was a save off the line at the Brisbane end, and then it went up the other end, and Hop scored on the break, and to win it and silence the crowd, and they were just, you know, the Lightning players were going crazy, and Dawn Boss got the assist for it too, which I also think is kind of cool because it's the second week in a row a goaltender has got an assist involving an Adelaide team.
Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely epic. Like, I don't know how you could script that. I don't think you could.
One thing too is across the games, because you were watching a few of them, particularly when I was watching the North Stars games, the amount of times, Sean, you messaged me because they just felt like some of the teams were linked. I think it was anytime Brisbane scored, Newcastle scored, and it just seemed to keep happening. So a big part of that, like our chats blowing up, like Claire mentioned, was just us being like, all three of these same teams
and again,
and then it was the opposite team scored, and like it just all of the games seemed really linked in
it was
weird
really
ways.
weird. There was some like cosmic energy going on there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that Sunday game as well. The other thing that really stood out for me from these games was just the amount of times the lead changed. And strangely enough, Adelaide took early leads in both games, 2-0 on Saturday and then 3-0 on Sunday. And then Brisbane fought back. And then Brisbane took leads. And Adelaide came back and took it. It was insane. But yeah, the one on Sunday, interesting enough, Brisbane was 6-4 up with like 7 minutes to go, I think it was. And then they then concede a 5-minute major. Pickford for a really dumb butt end got sent for the game and now suspended for the rest of the season. But it put them on the back foot, but Adelaide didn't see it that way. They went and scored 2 shorthand goals in that 5-minute major. And in those 2 goals came 22 seconds apart. Unbelievable.
That would have been a perfect one for them to take home the win, I think.
Yeah, but unfortunately for them, Sasha Rabchuk steps up again. He got a heap of points on the weekend and, scored with 43 seconds left to go in the game to win it for Brisbane. Oh, the roller coaster of emotion people would have felt.
There's been overall this year, such a high amount of goals per game. I feel like it's wild that the goaltending is getting better and better every year, but yet obviously the skill level is going up and up. So there are so many high scoring games these days. It's wild.
Yes. Diggy says, I think if you ask Adelaide fans, they're probably sick of the pity vote. Look, I'm not pitting Adelaide. I just think they did an amazing job, but still lost. And in the end, that's what they need to improve on next year. Like, to put on those performances and not come out with any points, or come out with 1 point. They got 1 point for the OT loss, but that's not good enough in the end if you're trying to make finals of it. So they need to improve on that next year and not concede so many goals, especially late on, because that's been an issue for them for years now. It's the same story for years. Eric Balmer says, great game if you're a fan, horrible if you're a coach. So true. And yes, the worst part about OT is they close the bar. Oh my God, really? And again, in Canberra, they close the bars like halfway through the third period, if not early. They as soon as the third period starts, they pack it up.
It's done.
Which I think's crazy. Leroy used to always have the bar at Phillip open till well after full time. So when the next teams are coming out to play state league B grade or whatever, they're still
ready to go.
And then anyway, absolutely amazing. I did want to touch on to some of the other games. I watched the Canberra games. I actually went down to the second game against the Ice.
They are on fire,
bad, to be honest. 10 wins in a row now for the Brave.
Yeah, they're going to be dangerous at finals.
I will say this, as much as they were both pretty big wins for the Brave, they had to fight for it, especially on the Sunday. The Ice played really well for 2 periods. They led at the second period break and the first period break. And Canberra hadn't scored yet, but a third period showed in the end because the Ice were playing with such a diminished team. They obviously came into the weekend with no Schindel and no Booth. Now, Booth was a plan not to be there, but Schindel was unexpected, and then I bet they wish they had Booth because they didn't have Schindel. But then on the Sunday, they also didn't have Ionzo, Bronte, and Burke because of suspensions. And they just had 2 lines running the entire game. It's hard.
We've talked about the importance of depth.
Yeah. So Canberra really shone through, and that that third period when the Ice were gassed after, trying. They just couldn't get up. And on the first night, Canberra just looked on top on Saturday night. So the Ice turned a lot of physicality, and in the end, that cost them with the suspension. So, what do you guys reckon of? We might as well talk about it now rather than later. Ionzo's suspension, non-suspension, I should say. Obviously, he didn't play Sunday. Obviously, being told that he would be suspended, but then on tribunal review, he comes away with no suspension. How do you guys feel about this?
I want to know, and look, I kudos to the league. They're being so much more transparent this year than they ever have. And there's so many cogs at work to kind of have things align. I'm just very, very, very surprised in a few of the suspensions, non-suspensions, short suspensions this week, I think. There's been a few. How about you, Court?
Look, honestly, specifically about that one, I think what Ionzo did was far worse than what Costa. I was going to say Bronte, but it was the Costa brothers. Which Costa brother was it? Not Kale. Who's the other Costa? Braden. Braden Costa. Oh, you're thinking Ivan Kuleshov. Yeah. So when you go back, I remember watching it a couple of times, the Braden Costa one, where he sort of comes in and just throws his arm to push his brother out of the way. And like, he's clearly not looking at who he's pushing away, but he still copped, I think it was 20 and 5. And, that's sort of the same scenario. They're saying Ionzo, like a lot of people are defending it, saying he didn't know who he was pushing. But at the end of the day, you got to look and go, he fully cross-checks that ref down into the ice. Far worse than Costa did. So why does Costa get 20? And this one is more physically, more physical.
What sets the precedent?
Yeah.
I would love to know what the actual rationale was for
there's no consistency.
Because I'm pretty sure the fact that he didn't play on Sunday meant that, the league obviously informed the Ice that he would be suspended.
Yeah.
And so that suspension, whatever it was, has only been overturned because of the tribunal.
It's actually insane to me that now if a player just cries, I didn't know what I was doing. Like, players got their head on swivels all the time. It won't take much for someone to be like, there's a ref there, I'm going to hit him because I'm sick of all of the officials.
I will say this, Colt, when I was watching, when I saw it live, I didn't think it was a penalty. Like, I didn't think that he had purposely done it or anything. He just literally turned and ran into the guy as he was trying to get back. When you watch it on replay, especially slow motion replay, it does look a lot worse. So I don't know if that has played a part into it. I really don't know.
So for me personally, he's had physical contact with an official where he's essentially cross-checked the official to the ice. We've had precedents for the last 6 months. It's 20 plus 10.
It's just a consistency.
More. Yeah, if not more. Because that to me was even worse than Pansino's. It was worse than Costa's, and he's got nothing for it. So, I just think,
It's fair. That's fair.
I think it's ridiculous.
Anyway, he'll be back, and the other Ice players will be back this week as well because they did serve their suspension on Sunday, and they only got one game suspensions. That, and Claire, as you said, that happened across the board. There were lots of one-game suspensions.
Yeah, there was one-game suspensions, or like we said, lack of to go forward. And it is just that consistency.
There was another player who also got none. I can't remember who it was down the bottom of the list. Anyway, that's okay.
Nathan Bertesh.
Yeah. Which also I thought was unusual because normally you get at least something. But that's okay.
Trust that, I guess.
Let's go through some of the comments on here. Todd says, as a fan, the games this year have been awesome to watch. Win, lose, it's been a blast. And yeah, I'm sure many people would agree with that, Todd. As someone who attended multiple games for the first time this season, nearly every game I've attended was insane and left me wanting more. I presume. What else have we got on here? Doogie, that's what I mean. It's always Adelaide tried hard despite losing. They are probably sick of this from the rest of the league and they just want to see success. I totally agree. I think Adelaide fans want to see movement forward and hopefully they can use these last games to help them pre-prepare for next year. I think we've talked about that as well. And then Anthony here, Adelaide with 4 OT losses and 6 games where they've lost in regulation by 1 or 2 goals. And yeah, it's a familiar story to last year. Like they just missed out on finals last year and not by much, but there was a lot of close games. And I feel like the Rhinos took that mantle this year. There was a whole bunch of games the middle of the season where I think the Rhinos lost by very small margins, which, if they had won, they're in the top 6. Which is really hard on them. Yeah, I have to say that game was it the Bears versus the Rhinos on the weekend. And we've talked about this offline prior to this. I feel so bad for the Rhinos because they went into that game after the decision by the league on Saturday to change the points awarded for the cancelled game between Perth and the Bears. Thinking,
maybe.
What was it before? Whatever it was. They basically went in going, oh, we're out. And then all of a sudden it changes and then they were actually in contention still, but I don't know how that would have changed how they played.
I got posed that question through the week, and I think it's a great question. It's like, would they have played a little bit harder? Would their mindset have just been that little bit different, knowing that it still mattered versus knowing that they were out of finals contention?
Especially because they were in the lead with 10 minutes to go.
Yeah. And look, personally, I think absolutely yes. I think that when you've still got a chance at finals, you dig deep. You find something in you when your legs are tired, when you can't breathe properly, you just find it because you leave it all on the ice. And maybe a small element of it doesn't matter anyway, just get it over with sort of mentality might have kicked in. Like if there's any players watching, I would love your thoughts or feel free to reach out to us privately because we really want to know, as a player, how did that actually change things through the week when all of a sudden it's like, oh, it's actually only 1 and Rhinos could have got in. I voted for them. I think it being so close to finals for Rhinos, awesome development. Awesome growth, and what a hell of a year they've had, improving on every year before it.
I think that like you said, the improvement year on year has been phenomenal, and to have that so close, you're right. You do dig deep. You get that second wind. You get, what it's like on the ice court when you're 1 goal down or whatever. You just get this adrenaline rush even, and I don't know. I from everything I saw, they were throwing everything at it already. They were playing really, really, really well. I just think, the points change, especially when the league did say it was final, and obviously there's always different things that come into play and cause the league in lots of different codes to reassess. But you just wonder how close that win, when everything changed, could have changed things up drastically.
Yeah. Oh, what ifs right in the end of all of this. And the Bears did the job they needed to do. Their fans went crazy in that thing as well. And they're now looking in a good position.
Yeah. Obviously, both Sydney teams being out of the comp last year, they both want to make finals. And I think, if they can, it's going to be a great testament. It's been a big week, a lot of shakeups.
Yeah.
My understanding, so Perth and Bears still need maybe a single point out of this coming weekend to officially clinch, but the job has just become so much easier for the Bears to actually do it now.
So on that point, I did crunch the numbers with Peter, Eric Bellner, Tristan Metcalf to try and work out what the actual situation was. So from what we've gathered, or what they calculated based on the current points percentage being the first tiebreaker, which is a crazy first tiebreaker if you ask me. It basically comes out that at the moment Perth can't lose to the Ice, who could end up on the same amount of points, 45 or 55, whatever it is, by the end. If they win their games in hand and Perth lose theirs. So in that case, I think Perth have actually clinched already. Obviously, if they get any points, they're definitely through. But yeah, I think Perth have now actually clinched, but it took a while to calculate correctly. Because of course, Perth also have the council game, so that also impacted their points percentage because that gets excluded.
Yeah.
So they're going off 29 games as opposed to 30. Anyway, I don't need to bore everyone with the maths, but pretty crazy.
They were so up. They were so up the top with Newcastle for so long. I was like, this is how it's going to be all season because they've both been playing fantastic. But Mustangs have come and got the job done, and Canberra are just on a roll.
Yeah.
But Mustangs are on a roll too, and they played so well on the weekend in Perth. Like, Perth looked second class compared to the Mustangs in those two games. Unbelievable. I don't know how this has changed so much, but Mustangs look the goods at the right time of the year.
Yep.
I mean, so did Newcastle, but yeah.
That's been very, very consistent.
And speaking of Newcastle, the last thing I wanted to touch on the weekend, Court, you guys lost power again.
Yeah.
And there were a flurry of like AIHL statements.
Couldn't tell you why. I've never actually got an answer as to what specifically happened. But it went out at like 5 a.m. the morning of the game and came back on at 1 p.m. So there's a little bit of nerves, a little bit of worry, but the doors all stayed shut and it stayed at about -4 in spite of the power being gone. So the 3 hours it had between coming back on and the game starting was enough time for it to be sorted.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, so it was an interesting morning waking up to those messages and just being like, oh, great, excellent. What are we going to do?
Yeah.
So, look, we were in a position where we could have pushed the game back an hour or two because there was nothing on after it. And luckily, like, it was the dogs would have been driving. It's not a flight or hindrance or anything. But none of that mattered because it all went ahead.
Yeah. Anyway,
that's where it works where you guys don't have windows, right? It works because everything is kind of shut down. Yeah, which is good.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm glad that it came on and there was no change in time because initially I think they were also talking about possibly pushing back the game an hour to give them more time to get it all ready, but they seemed to get it on quite quickly.
Yeah, it wasn't needed, so it was good. I think it was good that we just got sorted.
Yeah. No loss of copper like the other time.
Correct. I mean, electricity tends to be more of a priority to get turned back on than internet, so it was a lot easier.
That is true. All right, we've still got heaps of comments here. People are going on about the suspensions and stuff like this, differences between Panzino and Aonzo and whatnots. But I will bring up this comment from Paul, who did take a photo of me in the crowd on Sunday, saying I was the consummate journo, completely neutral when Brave scored. I did tell Paul that I was standing next to a couple of Ice fans of mine, and I do want to give a great big shout out to the Ice fans who travelled to Canberra. Like that's a pretty big effort, and especially when your team's down a lot of players. So we appreciate the travelling fans, and it was good to see. But I think inside I was the brave fan in me inside was jumping up and down, but I was being very very respectful at the arena. All right, guys, let's move on to the topics. I think we've talked a lot of the games. I was telling everyone before we started, I felt like what happened last week was a blur, but we've managed to talk about it for quite a while.
We have. So
topics. Let's start with, oh my god. All right, let's go start with a bit of statistic one first before we get into all the really big topics of the week. Eric Balner posted this week that Skachkov is on target to break Woodrick's single game points record in the AIHL, which currently I think stands at 92 points.
Yeah.
He's currently on 74 points with 4 games to go. Now, his score rate is 3.7 points per game. That would give him, if he continues that would give him 14.8 points, basically 15 points. It would put him in the range of 88 to 89, just a bit shy, but he's in that range where he could score a few more points and get there.
Yeah. I mean, 5 per game and he'll do it.
Yeah. And it's not out of world reality that could occur.
And they're not slowing down close to finals. Like, it's a definite possibility.
Yeah.
They're still throwing everything they are at it to get that top 2 spot.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing season that he's having though. Like, he was good last year, but he seems to be next level this year.
100%. Even just he's like the way he interacts with the teammates, the way he interacts with us. I know his wife, she spent some time teaching them more English in the off season when they went back home. So I just think he's gotten a lot more comfortable in this league. He knows what to expect. He knows what will come out of the other teams, and he's just playing to that. And then when you pair him up with like Santiri Harala and Francis Dralea and Wahib Daj, you've just got an incredible set of 4 guys right there who play unbelievable hockey, who have huge hockey IQ, and it just makes it easy to play at your high level when you've got teammates like that.
So true. The other player who's also on 74 points is Tanner Hops of the Lightning. Obviously had a great weekend as well, scored a lot of points. He though is scoring at a slower rate, so he's only scoring at 3. Oh my god, only 3 points per game. But if he keeps that up, he'd be on track for 83 points because they've got a few more games, the Lightning, than the North Stars. But, that would actually beat his last season total of 80 points, which would be an amazing achievement to have 2 seasons in a row with an 8 in your points tally there. Yeah, pretty cool. What do you guys think?
I think North Stars just have that chemistry as a team. And we've talked about not one player can kind of carry a team. Two over 80 goal seasons is phenomenal for Tanner Hobbs. And I feel like he's just having a great year personally and professionally. But I feel like team-wise, North Stars just have that great chemistry, which helps him.
Great. We got here, surprise sketch god. Your final shift of the season is going to be 8 minutes to get you over the line. Anthony and Eric Brook here. It'd be interesting to work out how many points Georgie Woodrick would have had in a 30-game season and full 60-minute game.
Yeah.
Because they were the days of 50-minute games and only 28 games in the season. But hey, you can only play to what is available, and that I still remember that Woodrick year 2015 when he did that. Like that North. I remember first time sitting down to watch the North Stars versus Canberra at Phillip, and I came away from that first game and I distinctly remember going, "Oh my god, like that's how you play hockey." Like that is like next level hockey compared to what Canberra was playing at the time.
And then he came to join your team.
Hey.
And then he came and joined your team.
Then he came in, and that was like, I remember that. That was a massive transfer. That all started the whole thing with Fridge and the middle of nowhere, and that's how we got the Battle of Nowhere. But great times, good times, all that lore, good old AIHL hockey lore. Next topic, guys, Hoyt sessions and tickets. I know this has been a hot topic for a lot of fans. Stephen gave an update today. Like, they're pretty much all sold across all the cinemas that they put on, and they've now actually put on a second cinema in Docklands.
Yeah, that's cool.
There are still tickets.
That's amazing.
So anyone who still wants tickets and you're in Melbourne, and you want to go to watch the finals at Hoyts, jump on. There is availability. But I do know that some fans are a bit upset that there were no venues in Adelaide or Brisbane.
It could be a personal franchise thing, right? Like, I think to even be able to put this on and have those conversations with Hoyts, because hockey's growing so rapidly, I think being able to have those conversations already is a tick in the win column. And again, like, they work so hard to get those. They didn't know if they'd sell, like you hope, and that's obviously the goal, but you don't know those things. And again, having another venue in Docklands is fantastic, and I won't be surprised if that sells out by the time the weekend's over. You've just got to roll with it. I'm sure they would have tried. And I guess you've just got to trust in that.
Well, the way I understand, I don't know. I understand how it evolved was that they originally were just going to have one screening in Docklands, and then they put it out to other places, and then different venues decided to jump on board, depending on their own availability of what screens they've got with what's happening on those days, and that's how it happened. But they managed to get quite a number of them, and it should be an awesome experiment. Although I have to say, James Morgan and ATC have their work cut out, because they have the streams going into Hoyts. They've got the AIHL TV. They've got ESPN.
Wild.
That's a lot of things to handle.
That's a lot of work on his plate.
So I'm sure the crew at ATC are going to be all over it. They normally are for finals, but yeah, it should be a great experience, and I really hope it all pays off, because if it does, Hoyts could be back next year. We could have more games happening at Hoyts.
Yeah.
Well, you were even saying a few weeks ago about how for them to stream the finals, they wanted to make sure that certain tickets were sold for finals, and that was the main issue. And that wasn't that long ago, really. It wasn't.
Right.
So I think to come out with this as a whole, it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, very much so.
People are mentioning that James was up for the challenge, and Steve White made a good summary of it today. Yep, he did in his thing, and Andrew saying they are marvels. They really are, Andrew. They do a great job down there, and I'm sure they'll do a great job again this year. All right. That should be fun. Oh, the other thing I did want to say is that Stephen also did mention today that District Docklands will be having another fan zone again. So that's another option for people to watch games as well. Obviously, there's also Urban Alley and stuff there as well that I'm sure will be showing the games as well. So there's going to be plenty of venues, which would be great. Let's move on to next thing I've got on my list here is Tim Payne. I don't want to say too much because he's still recovering, but he suffered a really bad injury on the weekend, knee-to-knee situation, and he required surgery. And Adelaide put up a post the other day with the Adelaide Adrenaline coach visiting, saying everything's okay, he's recovering. Pretty scary time, and anytime you need to go have surgery after an injury in hockey. Do you guys have any words you wanted to send out Tim's way?
I think just sending our best. Like, it's a horrible thing to see a player injured like that. We never want to see it ever, really, in hockey. And it's we know it happens, but it happens very rarely. And just hope he has a quick recovery and gets back playing sooner than he's being told he will do it.
It's usually the case with hockey players, right? They take their rehab very, very seriously, which is good, and that's what you want. I think from what I hear, it progressed kind of rapidly, and you don't want any player, whether you're playing, against them or what, you never have any ill will towards another team or another player. And hopefully, at least we are the back end of the season, and he does have that time for rest and recovery. Let's just hope he comes back kind of stronger next year.
Yeah, he made an instant impact in Adelaide too, and I think they really took to him, and I really hope that he does recover enough and he'll be back next year. That would be really cool. I think a lot of fans would be happy with that. There is a bigger story that hopefully we'll be able to go to in the off season about this, but great guy. Really wish him the best. and he got injured through a knee-to-knee knock. Like it's a really innocuous kind of injury. Like it's one that's painful, but that then caused something else. Sorry about that. Next topic, guys. Let's go on to the big one, eh? AIHL points deductions. Wow.
Yeah.
What a few days.
Yeah.
Court, do you want to lead off on this? I just got a cough again.
Yeah. Early in the week, we see the Ice Dogs deducted 2 points. They respond with, "We'll be fighting this. We haven't done anything wrong. We're going, we'll update you in due course." And then within a few days, a further 3 points. So I think it's kind of clear the initial ones, I say it's kind of clear, but I'm making assumptions that the initial one, they're fighting it. It seems the AI did a big audit on officials that were registered with teams and then have issued more based on what they've found, because now they've had to look at it. With everything in our league, it's run on way too short of a staff. They can't manage everything, and until things are brought to their attention, a lot of it goes under the rug, which I think unregistered officials on benches is exactly that. So it's I have to agree with Marissa Rose in the comments. It is a very, very rough week for Ice Dogs fans. But a lot of what I'm seeing, they probably have it. They've still got a good shot of making finals if they can dig deep and put their foot down and win the next couple of games. But it doesn't make losing 5 points any easier. It's it's in the rules. Every team knows, it's in the rules. It's been there forever. Every team knows what to do. And we saw this in Nationals tournament. It happened to the Victoria Tange team, and we talked about that. They had an unregistered official on the bench, and they were eliminated from a gold medal match. In this case, in the league, they deduct competition points. So, I think it becomes harder to take when you're so close to finals and you are fighting for a finals position and you're counting down the weeks. There's only 2 weekends left, and I think it feels a lot different right now versus if this happened in May. You go, it's okay, we've still got months to win those points back, we'll manage. They might have still fought it and still tried to defend it as best they could at that time, but it doesn't feel like you're losing hope for finals if you're doing this earlier in the season. So it's it's tough. It's tough for them, and I think in due course we'll definitely want to have a chat to Jace, Jace Quisler, the coach, and just sort of see where it all lands and how he feels, and how he's coached through it to keep his team on track. So we'll be. I know he'll be watching. He tells me he watches every week, so we'll be in touch, Jace.
Yes, I think Doogie is saying that we should get a nice Dogs person on to discuss it. So that'll be something that we should hopefully be able to do.
Yeah,
I know that they're fighting it, and obviously if there's enough behind it to fight it, then there's something there, right? So I'm such a big trust person. You've just got to trust, and I feel for the whole team, the players and the management. Jace and Kylie, they run an incredible team, incredible organization, and 99.9% of the time, every T's crossed, every I's dotted. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. I think it's really hurting, and like Courtney said, if it was earlier on in the season, it'd be such a different story. I know that the league had last year an integrity officer for each team, an integrity person overall from the league. And again, it is obviously run by volunteers. So I can't remember if they still have one this year. I said to Sean, I'd put my hand up and do that job. I love sending off those spreadsheets. I don't know why. It's a black and white thing, right? It's a black and white thing, but
it's a record.
I won't say what I said off about spreadsheets, but they've obviously got grounds to fight it. So just see how it plays out.
They are the only team. The Ice are also involved in this too. They've been deducted 2 points for the same breaches, and both multiple times. And you also just touched on this too, Claire, is that this isn't the first time we've seen this, and seen this late in the season. Like last year, we had Thunder. They lost 3 points pretty damn late in the season. That's what Anthony was had the comment about before that I popped up. And the year before, both the Ice and Thunder lost points through the season, and the year before that, the Bears lost point. This is now what, the 4th year in a row that we've got teams losing competition points.
Yeah.
For breaches of various different rules, but yeah, this year it's about officials on the bench. I think one thing I thought was really interesting is that the league actually posted, they actually uploaded and posted a link to the regulations for this year. They've never done that before, as far as I can remember. And so if you go on that, you can actually, and they reference what rules have been breached, and you can go and see. It doesn't include any of the actual penalties, so I don't know what why the penalties are the way they are, but you can definitely see, like it says that, you know, team officials, you can have up to 8 on the bench, and they have to be registered.
Yeah, and you know, the guys in the AIHL as a league work tirelessly, day in, day out, around the clock. We've seen so many, you know, progressions forward in the way of transparency and for most things, and you know, new things that they're adapting each season that they haven't in previous seasons. But I guess if they could have someone like that back and go through that like at the end of a week, so you'd hope, you know, by the end of the week, you know, you'd have those results from the last week. If there was points being deducted or if something similar, it would be a week to week thing, because coming to the end of the season's rough.
Yeah. And often, and I think you touched on this, Claire, is that often things like this come about because someone else complains to the league about something. And this is also why it tends to be later in the season too, because things become a lot more important. And so, you know, having a team, you know, pointing at a team who's breaching some sort of rules, that might give you an advantage to try and get into finals, for instance.
Yeah.
But I don't know if how this happened in the first place here, but obviously something happened. The league was alerted. They went and looked. The Ice Dogs were deducted points. That the Ice Dogs then said they were going to fight it. And then the league, as appropriately, I would imagine, has then done a complete audit. And that audit has obviously found further breaches by the Ice Dogs and then breaches by the Ice. And that has then resulted in further punishments being handed out. It is hard for a league that is volunteer run. There's only a few people. It's hard to enforce a lot of rules that other leagues, you know, professional leagues, have whole staffs that can deal with this on an ongoing basis. So yeah. Really tough. I don't know. It's so, I feel so bad for the fans because, you know, it hurts their teams, it hurts their chances of finals. But I don't know how else you do it, because we also talked about this offline too. You could fine people like crazy. You could fine teams like crazy, and teams do receive fines for different infringements throughout the years. But, you know, you got a lot of teams who are running on paper thin budgets. If you fine them too much, they might become financially unstable. So, you know, and you don't want to see that happen. So, you know, losing some competition points might be a lesser of an evil, I suppose.
It's a hard one, because you'd feel like, sorry, you go, Court.
I have to agree there, because I think ticket sales have been great for a lot of teams this year, with a lot of teams selling out. But then you're at your cap. Where does your income come from? If people aren't buying merch, if people aren't buying tickets, then you're really at your limit for income for the team itself. And just from general discussions I've had with different people over the years, there are a lot of teams that are sort of functioning not in a comfortable financial position. I can't speak to how true that is, but we aren't a professional league. We don't have a lot of income coming in at the team. So I think you're spot on there, Sean, that you start issuing big numbers of fines to these teams, even like $500,000 sort of bracket, and you start really putting strain on them. So
yeah,
Yeah, it's interesting.
And I guess the other question is, if legal does get involved, things like that, and the points come back, how does that affect the ladder again?
Yeah.
Will it happen in
I don't even
time
want
for
to think
finals?
about
Will it
it.
happen? No, I know, but it's a very real possibility, right?
It is. Yeah.
It's a very, very real possibility. Every team's playing their hearts out, wanting that spot. The ladder's so tight in so many ways. What happens if those points do come back? Hypothetically, what happens if somebody who comes in 6th ends up winning the cup? I don't know. I just want to
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man.
And the other thing is, there's so many things being focused on. You don't want to hurt the players.
Yeah.
Who play their hearts out every week, who give so much of their time, energy, to this sport, to each and every single game. But then there is that financial aspect, right?
Yeah. I did see someone comment this week, I don't know where, it was on social media somewhere, about the fact that it kind of feels like we're seeing finals being decided by back rooms as opposed to what's happening on the ice.
Yeah.
And that's not a great feeling.
No.
And I can definitely concur with that. Like, I want to see, teams deservedly, sportingly make finals or don't make finals. I don't really love the idea that, it's all coming down to technicalities and everything. But yeah, that obviously does play a part. And hopefully this means, I don't know how it's going to end, but hopefully it means that everyone is more careful in the future to, at least administratively, make sure they're all good.
Yeah.
Agree.
And again, there is that. It is hard when it is all volunteer run, and you volunteers are
and they change
coming and going left, right, and center. There's bringing so many more in, but also so many leaving. So to get that consistency across the board is hard. I think focusing on that and focusing on player safety going forward is a big thing, because that's also been a big thing over the last few weeks.
Yep.
It's true. Oh wow. I feel drained just talking about this.
Yeah.
Completely. When I, last night when someone said, "Oh yeah, it's going to be a big day tomorrow," and I'm like, "Oh please not. We've got our podcast. I've already written up notes and everything for this week. I don't need anything further." Oh man.
I mean, the moment Sunday finished, you and I were saying, like, we have heaps to talk about. And then it just got more and more as the week progressed.
Yeah, that was without the last few days.
Yeah. And of course, guys, it doesn't end there. Let's move into the next topic quickly. The AIHL chair, Dan Hogan, resigned last weekend. This week, whenever it was.
Through the week.
Whenever that first announcement came out from the league, I feel like, again, they've put out lots of announcements over the last week. And Ivan Ratchuk from Queensland, obviously connected with the Lightning, has been appointed the replacement chair. I don't know if it's permanent or temporary. I don't think they went into that detail, but he's at least in the job right now. And that Dan Hogan will continue with his role with the Ice Dogs as their governor. How do you guys feel about this? Obviously, another change at the top within the league. We've had a lot of different chairmen, I feel, over the last number of years. I mean, obviously, PJ was there for a few years, but I think back ever since Bannerman left, I feel like we've gone through quite a few. Yeah. How do you guys feel? Do you guys feel it's working as it should be, having our board and group of governors, or do you feel like there should be a separate executive, for instance? I know that Stephen was talking about that today as well.
I don't know enough to really have a solid opinion, other than I feel like the chain reaction of the people that now have to step up and cover that. Like, I feel like Steve White does heaps for the league, and he actually said it in his first video. There's like 4 people that are actually running it, and then they've got to answer to all of these other people. And I just know what it's like to sort of lose pieces, and then more workload lands on the few people left. And I think I feel for them more than anything. And especially finals time when there's so much more pressure on the league itself to function and perform and set up this big event. So outside of that, I think it's just probably going to be something they have to sort out in the off season and hopefully as soon as possible, so that planning for next season can just happen smoothly and we get the draw. I'd like to say let's get the draw in January so those in admin can have a break and don't have to worry about tickets for a few months. But that's kind of the gist of where I'm at.
I think quite a few teams sell tickets like for Christmas, right? Like they put them up before Christmas. So yeah. I don't know. I don't mind having the draw early.
I think from there's been people saying we should have independent chairmen, things like that. I think there is a benefit to having a chairman that knows the sport.
Yeah.
For that, I think that is a positive. But my personal opinion is I don't think owners and governors should be allowed to be the same people.
Yeah, I think that's fair too.
That's just my thought.
No, that's a good thought to have there, Claire. I'm sure. Yeah, I mean, as soon as you talk about this, you're starting to talk about both the running of the league as well as then the politics of the league and everything, and it gets a bit murky. And who knows? But there definitely probably needs to be some sort of shake-up. I don't know if the current way things have been going, whether it's sustainable. It feels like we're always going through a flux of change of governors and a flux of change of board members, and
which is hard when you are volunteer. Like it is voluntary. There is a
100%.
lot that is expected of you, and you do get burnt out. It's a double-edged sword, right?
Yeah, I do wonder whether this appointment of the guy from the UK coming over. Well, he's obviously going to stay in the UK, but coming onto the board, whether that's a sign of them trying to get someone else in who's got lots of experience. He's over 30 years experience in administration of hockey in the UK. Whether that's trying to get some know-how from over there with how they run their leagues, and bring that sort of know-how over here. I don't know if that's the case, but I imagine that's probably what you're trying to do, get that knowledge transfer. Anyway, it'll be interesting. I do hope Dan's okay, and wish him all the best in his role back with the Ice Dogs, and thank him for his time with the AIHL. And hopefully Ivan has a good time as chair.
I think he's kind of been thrown into it. Stephen was saying he's got a short amount of time to, download all the information to him.
Yeah, it will be. It's going to be crazy. Hopefully it'll be fine. There are so many comments I can't keep up with right now. Okay, guys, let's move into... Are you guys okay? You want to move into the preview? Any other topics you guys want to raise?
Let's do it. All
right, let's go. This weekend, guys. This is the second last weekend of the regular season. I can't believe that. Just unbelievable. Weekend 18. There you go. We're at round 18. 7 games this week, 3 on Saturday, 4 on Sunday. First off, Claire, what are you looking forward to? What are you going to watch?
I shouldn't say I'm looking forward to seeing how the points are at the end of the weekend, should I?
I think we all
I feel
are.
like there's just so much. I will be at the North Stars game tomorrow, so I'm looking forward to seeing that. I really want to get to as many games as I can before the season finishes. I don't know. I feel like the teams that are winning are just going to keep on that trajectory because, again, they want to make sure that they've cemented their spot in. And I know that 3 have clinched already, but now it's that battle at the top. There's a battle at the top and a battle at the bottom. But it'll be interesting. Obviously, there's a couple of games where if a point is scored, that clinches them for finals. So the fact that it's the second last weekend, I'm happy and sad. I feel like everyone's just on this just got to keep pushing train. But then what will we do with ourselves when the season's over? Well, A-Dub will be there.
Yes.
So the hockey people, A-Dub will be there from one straight to the other, which is perfect. But there are still a lot of points up for grabs this weekend. Really, there is.
And on the topic of A-Dub, Claire, I do want to give a big shout out to both Perth and Adelaide for really promoting their A-Dub teams at the AI last week.
I love
they
that.
had
It's a crossover we love to see.
Oh,
yeah, they had the rush at the Adelaide games. They had a segment about talking about the A-Dub season and everything on the broadcast. And then they had the Inferno out at the Perth game as well, which was fantastic to see.
Yeah.
You know.
I think we should do that more and kind of close that gap a little bit and promote the A-Dub, because people, again, hockey is growing. People want to know what's next, right? Yes, the NHL season will start before we know it, but there's incredible talent from the women in this country.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. I was actually talking to someone that has only just recently discovered the AIHL, is very excited about it because they've loved watching overseas hockey, had no idea we were here, and was saying to me how they're disappointed the season's so close to ending. And then I completely blew their mind when I was like, don't worry, the women's season's coming. And they were just so excited to learn that November to March, they'd have a whole other season that they could attend and go and watch games. So we will continue to find people that have never heard of us. So, that's the challenge, right? Get our content to those people.
100%. All right, Court, who are you looking forward to watching this weekend?
Look, my focus will be Newcastle. I'm commentating both games. So I'll be pretty heavily focused on Brave and Perth and how, what they bring to the table in Newcastle. The points matter to all three of these teams. So it's really hard to predict what's going to happen. Canberra's been playing well. Perth have been up and down, but they are a team not to underestimate is the right word. So, if North Stars can keep playing at the level they've been playing at, particularly the way they played more so on Sunday, get the goals, hold the lead, defend it well, don't give up stupid goals or make silly little mistakes, I think they'll be okay. But yeah, I do plan to keep an eye on the other games. Probably Adelaide, Melbourne Ice, because Adelaide's beat Melbourne Ice this year. So, they could really, really add another spanner in the works of Melbourne Ice this season if they can beat them again and do it at Melbourne's home as opposed to their home rink. So
imagine if they also beat the Mustangs too.
That would be interesting. That would spice things up. But yeah, Newcastle will very much be my focus this weekend, and I'm keen to commentate them. I've had a really fun time with commentary this year and learning new things and just getting better at it. So that will be my weekend.
Awesome.
I also think that the Bears Perth game will be a really good one to watch on Saturday.
Yeah,
that will be a good game. Oh man.
Is there 2 points between them in the league?
Yeah, there's not much now. Perth have really been clawed back into this.
Thunder on 45, Bears on 43.
Yeah.
So if they go to OT and both get a point each, they both clinch. There's the plan.
All right.
That's the plan, right? OT, guys.
Crazy. All right. The Lightning are also on this weekend. They're versing the Brave in Canberra on Sunday. I don't know, but I think this might be the Braves' last home game. I've got to double check that. Ice Dogs are obviously up in Erina versus the Rhinos. That's going to be a really interesting game too. Someone did actually message me today and go, "Are the Rhinos back in? Are they back in contention?" I went, no, they're still not. But it did make me go and have a look to see if they were now mathematically back in. I still think they're out. But they could, again, have huge implications if they beat the Ice Dogs, for instance. So it's a big game for both teams.
I have the schedule open, Sean. This is, Sunday's game is the final AIS game.
Yeah, craziness. What a season. And also the ESPN game this week is the Mustangs versus Adrenaline from Brian Icehouse. It's also the Pride game for this year for the Mustangs. So they've had socials for that. So hopefully everyone turns out big for that, and it should be a lot of fun. Always good games, those Pride games, and yeah, the Mustangs have been good, so it's going to be a good contest. I don't know. In the end, hopefully I get to the game on this game on Sunday and see the Lightning play. That would be pretty cool. But I don't know. Every game looks great to me. I just don't know how I'm going to miss any of these games.
Thank God for replays.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. Oh man, imagine you remember the days when there were no replays. My God.
Barely. I'm just so used to all of the streaming we have now. I barely remember not being able to watch hockey.
We're lucky to have it at our fingertips, and like the cameras being so clear, like it makes such a huge difference year on year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was watching the Slapshot Syndicate's interview with Riley Klugerman last night. Really good interview. Anyone who hasn't watched it, go on YouTube and find it. Really cool interview with Riley, and learn a lot about him. And then they did touch on the fact again, like, how expensive it is to watch stream a game in the UK for hockey.
Yeah.
Like, it's £15 a game. Like, that's $30 a game. Just one.
And we pay,
and
like,
you can't get a package, like a season package or anything.
That's crazy.
So yeah,
And
we really do have
pay it because they keep doing it.
Obviously.
I think that's where we need to message Rossi, we need to message Charlie and be like, all right, if we were to watch a game, what is the game to watch?
Yes. Yeah, that's right. 100%. Like, that would be the thing. And like, I'm super interested to see how UK hockey is more. I've only ever been to one game over there, but yeah, it's just very expensive to get into. Unlike here, which, we're made under the sun with how real cheap it is, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, it should be a lot of fun. I'm sure there's going to be a lot more calculations on who clinches, who doesn't. It's insane time for hockey in this country.
I think now it's at that. Remember we were saying about Melbourne last year. Everybody wants to win, but then when teams consistently win, other fans start not hoping for their downfall, but they're like, are we going to be team to break the streak and things like that?
Yeah.
Now I guess it's interesting with so many teams on win streak, like who's going to break that? Canberra, for example, who's going to break that?
You see this in every sport. I always saw this like in like F1, for instance. Like, Max Verstappen would win like every single race in 2023, and everyone's just there going, "Who can beat him this week? Come on, someone's got to be able to beat him."
Yeah.
And it sort of unites everyone else against him.
Yeah, it does. It does.
And I saw that again in our league. 2019, the Brave were winning basically every game under the sun in the regular season. I think they only lost like one game or two games in OT, and that was it. And we saw it again with the Ice last year. Last year? Yeah, last year they were really good, right?
Yeah, last year, yeah.
It feels a long time ago now, but yeah. And, everyone's like going, yes. So, anyone, come on, can anyone beat them? Yeah, it happens.
As long as it doesn't happen with injuries, that's fine by me.
Yeah. Court, any particular play you're looking forward to this weekend?
Player?
Yeah.
I think
who's going to have a blinder?
I think all eyes are on Santeri and Scatch and just seeing how many more points they can get this year. We're talking about Scatch beating Woodrick's record, but Santeri's only 2 points behind Scatch and well on his way to doing it as well. So, they both are more than capable. And imagine just, Scatch gets 5 goals in this weekend and Santeri gets all 5 assists, and you just do that for the next 4 games.
Yeah. What about you, Claire? What do you think? Who do you think is going to perform?
That's what I'm really excited to watch at Newcastle, to be fair. I think it's yeah, they're just on fire. Also, as a Rhinos fan, Bush, to see how things end up for his season. I think there's a lot of pressure on him for the next 2 weeks. Obviously, Raphael's gone home, and Sebastian's on suspension, which makes it hard. So I think if the team can lift, but He's just killing it.
Yeah, continues to do all the same. I did like this week that last night, in fact, I posted the photo of Sean Ellison with his fantastic helmet art. It looks really cool. It just screams the coast to me, like the Central Coast.
Yeah. It looks so nice, and it's such a good job. Rhapsody Designs on the coast did it, and yeah, it looks phenomenal. Yeah.
Oh, I have noticed a marked increase in the number of goalies who are actually going out and getting cool designs on their helmets this year. So hopefully that trend continues.
You'll have to do a good carousel of goaltenders' helmets.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
On socials.
Sounds like
Phil, I know Phil Taylor's watching. Email your photographers and be like, get photos of your goalies' helmets.
Yes, please.
Send them to us.
Please.
That'd be cool. All right, guys. Any final words, Scott?
Look, as always, thank you for engaging in the comments, which has been unbelievable tonight. I'm honestly not totally surprised. A lot has happened, and lots of people have thoughts. So we love that you jump in and engage with us, and thanks for being part of Oz Hockey Media Hockey Night in Australia this year. We love you guys, and kind of sad we've only got a couple of these left to do.
Yeah, well, at least we'll have like the big excitement of finals happening, and we're definitely going to do something prior to finals and then post finals as well. So there's still lots of chances to see us and join in on these nights.
Yeah, absolutely.
Claire, any final words from you?
Just thanks for the comments being respectful. Like, you guys obviously have all of your opinions and things like that, completely valid. Thoughts are with the players because it's kind of out of their hands for now, which is really, really hard. But thanks for always doing so respectfully. It makes a huge difference.
Yeah,
nice. Last thing I want to do is to give another shout out. I've given quite a few shout outs today, but I want to give a shout out to Shane Hanner, and he's posting at the moment on YouTube all these videos of his time here in Australia.
Yeah.
Really insightful for imports who want to come over here to kind of find sort of glimpse into what it's like to first arrive when you're an import here, and what's life like, setting yourself up and everything, and then getting into the games and whatnot. Really, really fascinating stuff. So if you got a chance, you can search for him on socials and on YouTube and find those videos. All right, guys, what a Friday night. Thanks for joining us. Looking forward to talking to you guys during the week, and seeing everyone here next week, hopefully with not as much crazy news.
Something tells me it's going to be just as crazy.
Probably.
You never know what updates we'll get in that time.
So. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's right. All right, everyone. Enjoy your weekend of hockey. Catch you next week.
Thank you.